The dysregulation of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal HPA axis, along with the disruption of the brain's default mode network, DMN, plays a critical role in how individuals become increasingly vulnerable to the psychological manipulation of high control groups like Scientology. Here's how these mechanisms may intersect with Scientology's indoctrination methods and its progression through different levels. HPA axis dysregulation and spiritual phenomena. The HPA axis is a central part of the body's stress response system, managing the release of stress hormones like cortisol. Chronic stress or systematic manipulation of this axis can lead to dysregulation, making individuals more emotionally volatile, hypervigilant, and susceptible to anxiety. In the context of Scientology, chronic stress is introduced through processes like auditing, sec checks, and other forms of interrogation that provoke a sense of guilt, self-doubt, and fear of repercussions. This keeps the HPA axis on high alert. As this dysregulation persists, the emotional experiences it produces, intense fear, anxiety, and occasional euphoria, can be reinterpreted as spiritual phenomena. Scientology frames these fluctuations as breakthroughs in spiritual awareness or higher states of being, fostering belief that these shifts represent actual progress. The unpredictability and intensity of the emotional roller coaster can cause a person to interpret these experiences as mystical or otherworldly, reinforcing their belief in the value of continuing Scientology practices. Dysregulation and loss of self. The default mode network, DMN, is involved in self-reflection, self-identity, and the integration of past experiences into a coherent sense of self. By undermining the DMN's function, Scientology can fragment a person's identity and sense of self, making them more malleable to external influences. Auditing and other indoctrination techniques involve repetitive questioning, the exploration of past traumas, and the continuous emphasis on one's reactive mind as something that must be controlled. These activities disrupt normal DMN activity, making a person less anchored in their own sense of identity. The identity disruption caused by DMN dysregulation is then exploited by Scientology to replace a person's previous sense of self with a new one, defined by the group's doctrines. Over time, the individual begins to see themselves primarily as a Scientologist, shaped by the group's values and beliefs. This can be particularly dangerous in a high-control group like Scientology, where the person's identity is essentially dissolved and reformed around the group's ideology, from basic concepts to far-out beliefs like body thetans or the Xenu narrative. This process of emotional and mental manipulation begins with the introductory courses, which seem harmless but slowly introduce the individual to the structure of thought reform. 1. Initial courses. Early experiences focus on personal development and spiritual enlightenment, which subtly disrupts their emotional stability through HPA axis manipulation and their self-reflection abilities, DMN disruption. 2. Auditing. As the individual progresses, the frequent e-meter sessions and sec checks reinforce these effects, deepening the sense of disorientation and the belief that Scientology is providing clarity. 3. Higher levels. By the time the individual reaches advanced levels, where beliefs about body thetans and Xenu are introduced, they are so deeply enmeshed in the group's reality that even the most fantastical ideas seem plausible. The fragmentation of their identity, through DMN dysregulation, and the emotional highs and lows, via HPA dysregulation, make these ideas feel like a natural progression rather than something absurd. 4. Perpetuation. At each level, new discoveries about themselves or the universe are presented, each framed as critical steps towards spiritual liberation. These revelations provoke further emotional and psychological disturbance, causing the individual to feel increasingly dependent on the group to make sense of their experiences. Tying the individual to the group. Because this process of dysregulation causes ongoing confusion, emotional upheaval, and identity disruption, individuals become deeply dependent on Scientology for a sense of stability. The promise of further spiritual gains or freedom from their emotional turmoil keeps them tied to the group. Scientology frames their emotional distress as something that can only be solved by continuing the practices, ensuring long-term dependency. The cycle of dysregulation creates a loop of crisis and resolution, which the individual believes can only be resolved by progressing further into the group's doctrines. As a result, they remain deeply loyal, even when presented with increasingly far-fetched ideas, because the mental disturbance prevents them from critically evaluating their situation. This cycle keeps them locked in, from the introductory courses all the way to the upper levels, never realizing that the very methods designed to free them are what perpetuate their entrapment. In summary, HPA-axis dysregulation fosters emotional volatility, which is reframed as spiritual experiences. DMN dysregulation disrupts self-identity, allowing Scientology to reshape their sense of self. This cycle perpetuates itself at every level, deepening dependence and making even the most outlandish beliefs seem credible.
Audiences know what to expect, and that is all they are prepared to believe in.
Call it Tom Cruise on Tom Cruise Scientologist.
I think it's a privilege to call yourself a Scientologist, and it's something that you have to earn. And because a Scientologist does, he or she has the ability to create new and better realities and improve conditions. Being a Scientologist, you look at someone and you know absolutely that you can help them. So for me, it really is KSW, and it's just like, it's something that I don't mince words with that, you know, with anything that LRH does, but that policy to me has really gone, boy. And there's a time I went through and I said, you know what? When I read it, I just went, this is it. This is exactly it. Being a Scientologist, when you drive past an accident, it's not like anyone else. As you drive past, you know you have to do something about it because you know you're the only one that can really help. But that's what drives me, is that I know that we have an opportunity and to really help for the first time, effectively change people's lives, and I am dedicated to that. I'm absolutely, uncompromisingly dedicated to that. The orgs are there to help, okay, but we as also the public, it's like, we have a responsibility. It's not just the orgs, it's not just Dave Miscavige, it's not just me, it's you, it's everyone out there kind of rereading KSW and looking at what needs to be done and saying, okay, am I gonna do it or am I not gonna do it? Period. And am I gonna look at that guy, or am I too afraid because I have my own out ethics to put in someone else's ethics? And that's all it comes down to. Because I won't hesitate to put ethics in on someone else, because I put it ruthlessly in on myself. And I think that I respect that in others. And, I'm there to help, and we're here to help. And my opinion is that, look, you're either on board or you're not on board, okay? But just, if you're on board just like the rest of us, period. We are the authorities on getting people off drugs. We are the authorities on the mind. We are the authorities on improving conditions. Criminon, we can rehabilitate criminals. Way to happiness, we can bring peace and unite cultures. That once you know these tools and you know that they work, it's not good enough that I'm just doing okay. Traveling the world and meeting the people that I've met, talking with these leaders in various fields. They want help, and they are depending on people who know and who can be effective and do it. And that's us. That is our responsibility to do that. It is the time now. Now is the time, okay? It is, being a Scientologist, people are turning to you, so you better know it. You better know it. And if you don't, go and learn it, But don't pretend you know it and or for, whatever. It's like, we're here to help. I mean, if you're a Scientologist, you see life, you see things the way they are. In all its glory, all of its complexity. And the more you know as a Scientologist, you don't become overwhelmed by it. And I went, they said, so, like, have you met an SP? I looked at them, and I thought, oh, what a beautiful thing, because maybe one day it'll be like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe one day it will be that. Wow, SPs, like, they'll just read about those in the history books, The thing is, I just go through that tech, and it's not how to run from an SP. It's PTSSP, how to shatter suppression, confront shatter suppression. You apply it, it's like, boom. Because they don't come up to me and do that. They won't do it to me. Not to my face, or anywhere in my vicinity where they feel they can be confronted, That's what I'm doing. Look, I wish the world was a different place. I'd like to go on vacation and go and romp and play and just do that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I want it to be, okay? That's how I would, there's times I'd like to do that, but I can't, because I know. So, I have to do something about it. It's not, you can sit here and wish it was different, and then you look at it and you go, okay, this is it, all right, okay, and there's that moment where you go, I have to do something, don't I? Yeah, I really have to do it, because I can't live with myself if I don't, and that really is it. I don't care if someone thinks it's hard or easy. You're either helping and contributing everything you can, or you're not, okay? Because I'm carrying my load, all right? And only that, as much as I'm carrying, I still feel like I gotta do more, all right? There's still a thing of, let's go. You can just see the look in their eyes. You know the ones that are doing, and you know the spectators who are the ones that are going, well, it's easy for you, or what am I doing? And it's just, that thing is, I've canceled that in my area. It's like, man, you're either in or you're out. That spectatorism, and it's something that is, we have no time for it now. So it's our responsibility to educate, create the new reality. We have that responsibility to say, hey, this is the way it should be done, because we do it this way and people are actually getting better, and let's get it done. Let's really get it done and have enough love, compassion, and toughness that you're gonna do it, and do it right. And I have to tell you something, it is, it's rough and tumble, and it's wild and woolly, and it's a blast. It's a blast. It really is fun, because damn it, there's nothing better than to going out there and fighting a fight, and suddenly you see things are better. I want to know that I've done everything I could every day. And I think about those people out there who are depending on us. And I think about that. And it does make me feel like, man, there's, we got more work. I need more help. Get those spectators either in the playing field or out of the arena. That's how I feel about it. I do what I can, and I do it the way I do everything. There's nothing part of the way for me. It's just.
A Scientologist can be defined by a single question. Would you want others to achieve the knowledge you now have? In answering that question, Tom Cruise has introduced LOH technology to over 1 billion people of Earth. And that's only the first wave he's unleashed, which is why the story of Tom Cruise, Scientologist, has only just begun.